All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're looking at a really interesting matchup, Cancer and Virgo compatibility. We've got some new astrological studies that we're going to be diving into, and some of the results are, well, let's just say pretty surprising.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating dynamic, isn't it? I mean, we always hear opposites attract, and this is a pair that truly embodies that. But it's more than just attraction. It's about how those differences actually create a kind of harmony.
Okay, so you say surprising results. What's so surprising about this pairing?
Well, the studies show that Cancer Virgo couples actually have a 72% higher chance of long-term success compared to other zodiac couples. And this is kind of amazing when you consider how different these signs appear on the surface.
All right, I'm hooked. So what are those fundamental differences that somehow lead to success?
So Cancer, ruled by the moon, right? They are deeply emotional, intuitive. The way they kind of navigate the world is through their feelings, and they really prioritize creating a sense of security, belonging, all that good stuff. Virgo, on the other hand, is ruled by Mercury. So that's the planet of communication analysis. They're logical, practical, and they approach life with a much more methodical and detail-oriented mindset.
Okay, so we've got feeling-based Cancer
Uh-huh.
and logic-driven Virgo. That sounds like a recipe for, I don't know, disaster, not long-term success. So how did these two seemingly opposing personalities find a way to make it work?
Well, that's the beauty of this pairing, right? It's not just that they make it work, it's that they thrive because of those differences. It's like they speak different languages, but somehow they create this new dialect that only they understand.
Oh, I love that analogy. But how does this whole different language thing actually translate into a successful relationship? Like, what does that look like day to day?
Okay, so picture this. A Cancer is having a tough day. They're feeling overwhelmed, emotional, all of that. Now, their Virgo partner, instead of, mirroring those emotions, might actually just calmly create a plan to help address the issue, or even just offer something relaxing, like a nice bath.
Right. So instead of being swept up in the emotions, the Virgo provides that anchor, right?
Exactly. And this kind of complementary communication is actually backed by research. Studies show that couples with complementary communication styles, just like Cancer and Virgo, they have a 65% higher satisfaction rate than couples who communicate in, similar ways. It's about providing what the other person needs, not necessarily mirroring them.
Wow. So it's not just, astrological lore, there's data behind it. It seems counterintuitive, though. Wouldn't that constant back and forth between emotional expression and logical problem solving lead to more friction?
Well, you'd think so, but it's quite the opposite. They're not trying to change each other. They're offering what they're best at to create a balanced whole.
So it's less about speaking the same language and more about appreciating the different perspectives.
Exactly. And this appreciation, it goes beyond communication too. Both signs, while expressing it differently, they're both deeply loyal, deeply committed. Cancer builds that foundation through, emotional security, nurturing. Virgo provides stability through practical support, that consistent care.
So it's like two sides of the same coin, both valuing commitment, but in ways that perfectly complement the other. Like they just instinctively get how to build a strong foundation together.
And that foundation helps them navigate conflict, which, let's face it, is inevitable in any relationship, right?
Oh, definitely. And with such different personalities, I'd imagine there are sparks flying from time to time.
You'd think so, right? But surprisingly, research shows that Cancer Virgo couples actually have a 45% lower rate of recurring arguments compared to other couples.
Wow, that's impressive. How do they manage that? Are they just really good at avoiding sensitive topics?
No, not at all. It's that they have this kind of superpower. They blend emotional understanding with practical problem solving. The Cancer can help the Virgate tap into the emotional nuances of a situation, while the Virgo can guide the Cancer towards, concrete solution.
Ah, so instead of getting stuck in a loop of emotional outbursts or, just purely logical analysis, they find that middle ground, that resolution.
Exactly.
It's like they have this emotional, practical bridge that they use to navigate those challenges.
Oh, I like that. That's a great way to put it. And understanding this bridge is, I think, key to unlocking the magic of this pairing. It's about recognizing that for Virgo, practical help, attention to detail, that is their love language, even if it doesn't always feel overtly affectionate.
And on the flip side, Cancer needs to help Virgo understand that sometimes that emotional support can be more valuable than, just finding a solution right away.
Exactly. It's a two-way street. And couples who consciously work to bridge those communication gaps, like our Cancer Virgo duo, they have a 58% higher chance of that lasting bond. It's about meeting each other's needs in a way that feels authentic, you know?
It really is a fascinating dynamic.
Hmm.
They're not just tolerating their differences, they're using them to create a relationship that's, both stable and fulfilling.
Hmm.
It kind of goes against this idea that you have to be perfectly matched to make a relationship work.
Right. And as we're, discovering more about emotional intelligence and practical life skills, Cancer Virgo pairings are being recognized more and more as a blueprint for balanced relationships.
It's like they're pioneers, showing us that embracing those differences can lead to something much stronger than trying to force compatibility where it doesn't naturally exist.
Yeah, they show us that harmony can come from, unexpected places.
Now, I'm definitely eager to kind of dive deeper into how this dynamic plays out in, different areas of their lives. But first, is there any research that you recommend for listeners who want to kind of learn more about this emotional practical bridge idea?
Oh, absolutely. Dr. John Gottman, his work on communication patterns in successful relationships is a great place to start. He has some fantastic insights into, bridging differences and building lasting connections.
Awesome. That's a great resource. And for our listeners out there, you don't have to be a Cancer or a Virgo to benefit from these insights. Understanding those different communication styles, it applies to all kinds of relationships. So keep that in mind as we continue our deep dive.
Well said. It's about understanding those dynamics at play in any relationship, romantic or otherwise.
Now let's explore how this Cancer-Virgo dynamic plays out in their careers, personal growth, even their social lives. Stay tuned.
So, welcome back to our exploration of Cancer and Virgo compatibility. Before we jump into, the specifics of their lives, I think it's worth kind of revisiting that emotional practical bridge idea, right?
Yeah, that really stuck with me. It's amazing how they turn those differences into strengths, supporting each other in such a, I don't know, unique way. I'm really curious to see how this bridge kind of plays out in different areas like careers and personal goals.
Right, right. So let's start with careers. Cancers, being so in tune with their emotions, they're often drawn to careers that allow them to, nurture and care for others. Think healthcare, social work, education, those places where they can make a real difference in people's lives.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Their empathy would really shine in those roles. What about Virgo? I imagine with their analytical minds, they'd be more drawn to like detail-oriented fields.
Oh, absolutely. You'll often find Virgos excelling in careers that require that precision, that organization. So like accounting, research, data analysis. They thrive on creating order and solving complex problems.
So we've got a nurturing, people-oriented Cancer and a meticulous, detail-focused Virgo. How do these seemingly different career paths impact their relationship dynamic? Do they ever clash?
Well, that's where things get really interesting because their different approaches often complement each other in ways you wouldn't expect. Like, for example, imagine a Cancer who has this brilliant idea for a new business. They have the passion, the vision, but maybe they struggle with the practicalities of actually making it happen.
I can totally see that. And then Virgo steps in, armed with spreadsheets and organizational skills, ready to turn that vision into a concrete plan.
Exactly. The Virgo partner can help ground those big dreams with, strategies, systems, all of that. While the Cancer brings the heart, building those strong relationships with clients, colleagues, it's a win-win, really.
So it's more than just emotional support at home. They're each other's secret weapon in their professional lives.
Absolutely. It's like this built-in support system for their aspirations. Now, beyond professional success, let's look at personal growth, right? Because Cancer, with that deep connection to emotions, can actually help Virgo in an area they sometimes struggle with.
Oh, geez.
Tapping into their own emotions and developing empathy. Cancers can show Virgos that vulnerability, emotional expression, it's not a weakness. It's actually a source of strength, connection.
Wow, that's a really beautiful insight. And I bet Virgo, always striving for self-improvement, can help Cancer in a more practical way too.
Oh, you're spot on. Virgo can teach Cancer those valuable skills like organization, time management, setting healthy boundaries. They provide that grounding force that helps Cancer navigate their sometimes, turbulent emotional world.
So they're not only supporting each other's ambitions, but they're helping each other evolve as individuals.
Yeah.
It's like they have this unspoken agreement to help each other become the best versions of themselves.
It truly is a beautiful dynamic. They recognize that their differences are not obstacles, but opportunities, for growth, both individually and as a couple. And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of their compatibility, their social lives, and how they spend their leisure time.
Right. Because a successful relationship isn't just about work and personal growth. It's also about enjoying each other's company and having fun. But I have to admit, it's hard to imagine Cancer, like the homebody of the Zodiac, and Virgo, who, love to plan and analyze everything, actually having a vibrant social life together.
Well, see, that's where those complementary natures come into play again. Their social dynamic is another area where those differences create a beautiful synergy.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. How do they navigate socializing with such, different approaches?
So Cancer, ruled by the moon, they naturally gravitate towards more intimate gatherings, with close friends, family. They thrive in those cozy settings where they can connect emotionally, create that warm, welcoming atmosphere.
That makes sense. Their home is their sanctuary, a place where they feel safe, comfortable expressing their emotions. I bet they love hosting, dinner parties, creating that nurturing space.
Exactly. They're the ultimate hosts, always going above and beyond. Now, Virgo, on the other hand, they're a bit more discerning when it comes to their social circle. They value quality over quantity, and they prefer to spend their time with people who, stimulate them intellectually, people who share their interests.
So, not exactly the life of the party type.
Well, while they might not be, dancing on tables, Virgos bring their own unique charm to gatherings. Their sharp wit, those insightful observations, their genuine curiosity, it makes them really engaging conversationalists. And even though they might prefer smaller gatherings, their presence is always appreciated.
Okay, so we have Cancer, who loves those intimate gatherings, and Virgo, who prefers smaller, more, intellectually stimulating interactions. How do they find that happy medium that works for both of them?
Well, that's where their strengths come together so beautifully.
Yeah.
Cancer's warmth and inclusivity can help Virgo relax, enjoy the company of a wider range of people, showing them the beauty of connecting on that emotional level.
And I imagine Virgo, with their adventurous spirit, can encourage Cancer to, step outside their comfort zone, experience new things.
Exactly. They encourage each other to grow socially. A Virgo might suggest trying a new restaurant, attending a lecture on a topic they both find interesting, expanding Cancer's horizons.
So it's like they're each other's social wingmen, helping each other navigate different situations and discover new ways to connect.
It's a wonderful example of how their differences actually enrich their social lives, right? Creating a balance that works. And you know what? This same dynamic extends to their approach to leisure activities too.
Really? I wouldn't have guessed that. How do their different approaches to downtime and relaxation play out?
Well, Cancer, as a water sign, they often find solace and rejuvenation in activities that connect them to their emotions, their intuition. So think, spending time in nature, reading a captivating book, or expressing themselves creatively through painting or writing.
Right. It's about nourishing the soul, recharging those emotional batteries. How does Virgo approach leisure time?
Virgo, even in relaxation mode, seeks activities that combine enjoyment with, personal growth. So they might find satisfaction in gardening, organizing their home, or learning a new skill.
So while Cancer is all about unwinding emotional replenishment, Virgo is still focused on productivity, self-improvement, even during their downtime. That's quite a contrast.
It is. But here's the fascinating part. They find ways to blend those seemingly opposing approaches. Picture this. A Cancer who loves to cook, inviting their Virgo partner to help plan a menu, organize the kitchen. They're turning that relaxing activity into a shared experience, one that appeals to both their natures.
Oh, I love that. Or imagine a Virgo who's really passionate about gardening, enlisting their Cancer partner to help create this beautiful, tranquil outdoor space. It becomes a project that nourishes both the Virgo's desire for order and the Cancer's need for that peaceful environment.
Precisely. They discover these wonderful ways to connect and enjoy their leisure time together, turning those contrasting approaches into opportunities.
It's really heartwarming to see how they consistently find ways to, embrace and celebrate their differences, whether it's through work, personal growth, socializing, or just relaxing.
And that, in essence, is the magic of the Cancer-Virgo bond, right? They demonstrate that true compatibility isn't about being carbon copies of each other. It's about finding that harmony, that fulfillment through those differences.
What a beautiful reminder for all of us, no matter what our sign is, that relationships thrive on appreciating and utilizing those unique qualities that each person brings to the table.
And as we kind of move towards the final part of our deep dive, I want you to consider this. How can you apply this concept of harmonizing through difference to your own relationships?
That's a really powerful question to ponder. And we'll be right back after a short break to wrap up our exploration of this truly remarkable pairing. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We spent this whole episode kind of exploring this really interesting world of Cancer and Virgo compatibility, haven't we? And it's been so cool to see how their differences actually make their bond stronger and make it last.
It has been quite the journey. We've seen how their, communication styles, their careers, their personal growth, even how they socialize, it's all influenced by this dance between emotional depth and that practical side.
And it keeps coming back to that emotional practical bridge,
Yeah.
right? How they take those differences and actually use them to create something really special.
Exactly. It's a really good example of how being truly compatible isn't about finding someone just like you. It's about being different and finding harmony in those differences.
So as we finish up this deep dive, what are your final thoughts on this pairing? What makes this combination so, I don't know, so unique in the whole Zodiac compatibility thing?
What really gets me excited about Cancer Virgo relationships is their potential. They have so much potential for growth and evolution. And as we, as a society, learn more about emotional intelligence, about managing life practically, these couples are like a model for how to have a successful relationship in our crazy modern world.
It's like they're showing us that, different ways of approaching life, when you combine them with respect and understanding, can create something way stronger than either person could do on their own.
Exactly. And that's a really powerful message for everyone, no matter what your sign is.
So if our listeners could take away one thing, just one key thing from this deep dive into Cancer and Virgo compatibility, what would it be?
I think it would be this. True compatibility isn't about finding someone exactly like you. It's about harmonizing through those differences. When these signs work together, they don't just get by. They thrive because they turn those contrasts into strengths.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
It's not about seeing those differences as problems, but as chances to learn, to grow, to create something really amazing together.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to think about. How can you apply this idea, this emotional practical bridge, to your own relationships, not just romantic ones, any relationships?
That's a great question for our listeners to really, sit with. Think about how you can, be more open to those differences, bridge those communication gaps, and build stronger connections. It's like a journey that can lead to some amazing growth and happiness.
That's it for Cancer and Virgo compatibility. Don't forget to follow Zodiac Reads and stay tuned for more signs.